What's up, guys? DJ here at Top Deck Cards and Games with my first Yu-Gi-Oh video since the April Forbidden list. I'm a little bit late on this one, but I finally just finished up with my finals, so I shouldn't have to do college stuff ever again, and you guys should be getting a lot more videos more regularly now. So you're welcome. I've got Kozmo here for you guys today. Kozmo is not my favorite deck for the format, but I don't like Burning Abyss, and I wanted something else I could play my sweet Allure of Darknesses in, so I decided to sleeve up Kozmo and play Escape from the Dark Dimension too, because it's really sweet, it's actually pretty powerful, and it does a lot of what Kozmo wants. It puts damage on the table, and it disrupts your opponent, so not really anything you can be upset about. Kozmo actually synergizes pretty well with Allure. Strawman's good with it, Cosmotown's good with it. And you have some pretty powerful Dark Spaceships, which, you know, most of all, Cosmo Dark Destroyer, one of the most powerful cards in the deck, if not the most powerful card. It's definitely a Dark-type monster, and we're definitely playing 3 of them. After that, we have 3 copies of Slip Rider. I know a lot of lists have gone down to 2 of this guy, because without Pendulum being as popular as it is, or was, I guess I should say, using this at instant speed to pop your opponent's scales obviously isn't as big of a thing, but I want to be able to clear my opponent's back rows, and I want to be able to make Cyber Dragon Infinity. After that, we have 1 copy each of Dark Eclipser, Forerunner, and Dogfighter. Darkfighter could have been any other Dark Spaceship. I chose to go with Darkfighter, though. I think he's got a decent amount of merit. The other thing I tried was a second Dark Eclipser. There's also the Dark guy that is like a giant tin can and just foolishes a dude from your deck. I don't know the name of it. It didn't seem very good to me, but it is an option. But yeah, just variety here, so you can go down the chain basically when your ships are dying, and so you can have enough different things to dump with Tin Can, which we are still playing 3 of. Tin Can still creates one of the best openings in the game, just playing it, setting trap cards, and one of those trap cards being a Call of the Haunted is incredibly strong. It's going to give you access to multiple disruptive effects, plus some giant spaceships to beat your opponent down with. And I just don't see myself playing Kozmo without 3 of them anytime soon. I also have 2 copies of Kozmo Wicked Witch. Wicked Witch is pretty good at keeping you from dying if your opponent can out one of your spaceships without dealing with the graveyard effect. So you get the Wicked Witch, pay to keep it from dying, and it'll just wall up for a turn. That makes it so you can go into rank 4s the next turn or use it to special ship from your hand. Next up, we have 2 copies of Farm Girl. Farm Girl isn't something that I actually love playing 2 of. I've said this in my prior Kozmo videos. But it's just not, it's not what it used to be. It is still a great card, but I always want to have 1 in my deck to get with Teleport, and I want to be able to get 1 off of a spaceship if I have to. So it just seemed too important to play 2 copies to cut 1, though I would have liked to play a second copy of Strawman or Store Trooper in this deck list, but the way the deck's constructed, I decided to stick with 2 Farm Girl. Store Trooper and Strawman both had a lot of depth to the deck, though. Strawman being able to get you spaceships back from out of play, and Sword Trooper being able to get you pilots from your graveyard. So, in different situations, they both can really add to your game plan. You're fairly likely to get to them through the shipped effects or the ability of Emergency Teleport, and once you find them, you can recycle them with Cosmotown. So, you know, if you need these cards, you have multiple copies of them just in that manner. So, it's not too bad to have 1 of each. Sword Troopers is something that I would have liked to play more copies of, and if you watched my prior Kozmo video, I had a list where, I don't know if the list I posted 2 or 3 in it, and I do think this card's incredibly powerful, especially being a Dark Monster, since I already said I'm playing Allure of Darkness, but it's just a lot harder to turn it on when you're not playing Brilliant Fusion, so 1 copy seems fine. Spells, you have 3 copies of Cosmotown, and I want it so badly that I'm also playing a copy of Terraforming. I'm not playing any more copies of Terraforming because we don't have Chicken Race anymore. If we did, I would probably be playing more Terraformings and a copy of Chicken Race. But yeah, this card's just getting me to Cosmotown. Cosmotown's great in the deck. We also have 2 copies of Emergency Teleport. I mean, not much to say about it. It's just one of the strongest cards in Kozmo, and it lets you play outside of the 1 normal summon per turn dynamic that really holds Kozmo back. Next, we have 2 copies of Lure of Darkness. Just a pet card, really. This might not be the best way to play Kozmo, but, I mean, I have ultis and I wanted to play them, so by God, I'm going to play them. Like, the card's sick. So, having Cosmotown with a card like Cosmotown, or Allure with a card like Cosmotown, excuse me, I went stupid, just lets you get free +1s, which is great. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh's not about card advantage as much as it used to be anymore, but when you're just generating free +1s, it's still pretty good. Then I have a copy of Upstart Goblin. Normally I have like some deeper reason for playing Upstart in my decks. Like I really want to find this card, or on a combo deck I want to find these pieces, or playing spell cards is beneficial to me. In this deck I just kind of had 39 cards that I wanted, and the other cards that I considered for this slot were Reasoning and Regeki. I don't know. Reasoning would be pretty good, but I decided to stick with the Upstart Goblin. Going on to traps, we have 3 Kozmojo. Kozmojo is one of the trap cards that I think you just need to play 3 of in the deck. It plays aggressively and defensively so well. It's very versatile. It can remove whatever you want it to. It can get cards out of your opponent's bin. It's just, it does everything you could possibly ask of a trap card. And I think it's just a slam dunk 3 of. And I also think Call the Haunted is a slam dunk 3 of. Partially because of how good it is with Tin Can, partially because of how good it is just with your spaceships in general. Call's just too good in Kozmo, and I think you really just need to be playing all 3 copies of it. Again, it puts damage on the board and disrupts your opponent, which is just something you can't pass up in this deck. For the same reason, we have 2 copies of Escape from the Dark Dimension. It's kind of like Call the Haunted, but it just gets dark monsters, and it gets them from our Remove from Game pile. So basically this is going to get Dark Destroyer. Occasionally it's going to get a Dark Pilot, or maybe like Dark Eclipser, since it's just gigantic and can do a lot of damage. But it's just extra copies of Call that only go from Banish, and it's not too bad. It's really cool. It's a card that I liked a lot when Phantom Darkness came out, so I was excited to play with it some more. You saw this early on in Kozmo, actually. I think Jesse Samick played it in the build that won whatever the first YCS with Dark Destroyer was. So, yeah, I'm happy I get to play the card. And finally, we have our Counter Trap lineup. We have 2 Chaos Trapple, 2 Solemn Strike, and 1 Solemn Warning. Pendulum is a lot less popular now than it used to be. Against the other decks, Chaos Trapple is normally better, though there are situations where Strike is the better card still. And I personally think Pendulum is better than it looks. I think Pendulum decks will be more popular. You saw last weekend Jeff Jones top-8'd, or top 16? I don't know where he finished in the tournament. I know he made top 16 with Magician Pendulum, and Strike is just better than Chaos Trapple against that deck. And there's plenty of other situations where using Strike as effect negation is better than what Chaos Trapple does. So we just went with the even 50-50 split on them, and then we have a copy of Warning because it does what both these cards do. So there's the main board. It's actually a pretty straightforward Kozmo list. No gimmicks really this time, other than my strange love of Allure of Darkness. But, you know, I don't think that really counts as a gimmick the same way the last list I had, which was like Gemini Fusion, or Brilliant Fusion and Instant Fusion, comparatively to this relatively standard version. But it does what Kozmo does, you know, it does it very well. It's got a decent host of defensive cards. We've got these 8 traps up here that can be defensive as well as putting damage on the table. I mean, the draw cards and Terraforming give us some consistency of getting to the cards we want. Lord of Dark, or Emergency Teleport, God, and Cosmotown both let us fix our deck, which can be a little bit clunky sometimes. And then up here we just have spaceships and pilots. Let's go into the extra deck real quick. We have Barbaroid, which is, you know, cheesy, and it probably doesn't happen since people kind of know it's a thing now. But for those of you who don't know, it's basically if your opponent would kill your Nova, you can get Barbaroid with it, and Barbaroid just kills all their dudes and does 1,000,000 damage. It's decent in the mirror. It doesn't come up that often, but it's sweet. Then we have number 38. Right now I have a number 107 in here, which is actually just supposed to be a second Cyber Dragon Infinity, but I couldn't get my hands on a second one before I did the video. So, yeah, that's that. Then we have 1 copy of Nova. For those of you who don't know, by the way, like, it's pretty obvious, but just to clarify, like, we use 1 Nova to Infinity because of Call the Haunted. Then we have the Utopia package of Lightning, Prime, and just Utopia. Have Dire Wolf and Castell. Dark Rebellion Dragon, just to push for damage, since that's really what Kozmo is all about, right? Abyss Dweller, since occasionally you might be able to make this guy and go for game. I don't know. I've never used them. Then we have Acid Golem, Leviair, and Break Sword for rank 3s. So, yeah, it's a fairly standard Kozmo deck, making use of one of the changes from the April list. Allure of Darkness is, like I said, a card that I always liked playing with, so I decided to make something to make use of 2 of them. I know it is a little bit late into the format, so I'm not really kind of breaking any ground here, especially since Shining Victories comes out next week. I do have 1 other deck tech I'll be doing pre-Shining Victories. I have a Pendulum list that I've been working on pretty hard. I think the decks are great. I have some friends playing it at a regional this weekend, so I know most people, like, there's a terribly small chance that somebody would see this video going to that regional, but out of respect for them, I'm posting it Monday or Tuesday of next week, just to make sure it doesn't somehow hurt their chances. If people would know, it shouldn't, but they asked, then I will listen. So that's the Kozmo deck list. You can make sure to watch for Pendulum coming soon. Then after that, we'll have some Shining Victories decks coming up in the next couple weeks as soon as I get my hands on the cards. If you guys want to see anything else Yu-Gi-Oh wise, you want gameplay, discussions, anything, let me know down below. With my school career being over, basically, I'll be a little bit more open to trying to keep a consistent video schedule. I mean, I am working another job as well as here, but I think I can easily make time every week to do a set video schedule. So let me know down below what you guys are interested in seeing for Yu-Gi-Oh! If there's anything you want to see regularly, anything you guys want to see, kind of occasionally. Just let me know downstairs. I'll be happy to keep your comments in mind whenever I'm figuring out what I'm going to do in the future. So thanks a ton for watching, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the deck. And let me know what you guys are thinking about the deck after Shining Victories, because I think the new Kozmo support is actually pretty sweet. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Thanks for watching.